The unknown is scary. As humans, we like to know what's going on at all times. It lets us be in control. But sometimes there aren't any explanations for things we want to know. Hello everyone, I'm your host Emily, and today we are counting down the top 10 unsettling pictures no one can explain. As mentioned, these are photos that no one can fully explain, but there have been many theories. Now with that in mind, let's jump in. Number 10. Sea creature. Hook Island is off the coast of Queensland, Australia, and Robert Le Serac, his family, and a friend, Hank de Jong, stayed there for 3 months in late 1964. On December 12, 1964, the Le Seracs and Hank were crossing Stowhaven Bay on an island when Robert's wife noticed something odd in the water. It was a long, tadpole-like creature. It was black, and it was believed that it was at least 30 feet long. Robert and Hank decided to venture into the water and record it on film. When they entered the water, the monster was even bigger than they thought. But as they started recording, the creature opened its mouth and swam away. When they checked the film, they had no footage of the creature, but the pictures clearly showed it. The pictures were published in a magazine and eventually spread across the world, making it one of the most famous and unexplained pictures of a cryptid. Number 9. A spaceman? This is one of the world's most famous mysterious photos. The image was taken by Jim Templin near Solway Firth in Kernba, England in 1964. It is a simple photo of his daughter, but behind Jim's daughter, who was supposed to be the only figure in the picture, there is another entity resembling a spaceman. Jim insists he did not see anyone else present when the photograph was taken, so what's behind her? The image was reproduced widely in contemporary newspapers and gained the interest of UFOologists. Jim took the picture to the police in Carlisle, who, after many doubts, examined it and stated there was nothing suspicious about it. The local newspaper, the Cumberland News, picked up the story, and within hours it was all over the world. Regarding the photo, Jim said, "The picture is certainly not fake, and I am bemused as anyone else as to how this figure appeared in the background. Over the 4 decades the photo has been in the public domain, I have had many thousands of letters from all around the world with various ideas or possibilities, which most make little sense to me. Modern analysis suggests that the figure might have been the photographer's wife standing with her back towards the cameras, but not even this explanation is convincing enough." Number 8. Strange lights. Since the 1940s, and possibly even earlier, there has been a strange light phenomenon observed in Hessdalen Valley, Norway. The spectacle has a form of white or yellow light of unknown origin standing or floating above ground level. Between 1981 and 1984, the lights were observed up to 20 times per week, but have drastically reduced in frequency since then, about 10 to 20 times per year. Why the decrease all of a sudden? No one knows. No one knows where the lights come from, but UFO enthusiasts took this as a sign that the valley was a portal to other worlds. It wasn't just conspiracy theorists that were interested in this, as the strange bursts of light in the 1980s attracted physicists too. Interest piqued by the idea of some sort of explained natural phenomenon. In the decades since, scientists have determined the glow likely comes from air turned into plasma. Despite ongoing research and numerous working hypotheses, there is no convincing explanation for the origin of these lights, and seems like it will always be a mystery. Number 7. Fairy circles. For those of you with trypophobia, look away. Found in the arid grasslands of the western part of South Africa, the fairy circles are circular patches of barren land. They typically occur in monospecific grassy vegetation, and the circles vary between 7 and 49 feet in diameter. Until 2014, the phenomenon was only known to occur in the western parts of southern Africa, but that year ecologists were alerted to similar rings of vegetation outside of Africa and a part of Pilbara in western Australia. There are various myths about these fairy circles. One from Himba people say that these barren patches are said to have been caused by the gods, spirits, and natural divinities. Of specific beliefs, the Himba people note that their original ancestor, Merkuru, was responsible for the creation of the fairy circles, or that they were the footprints of gods. Another myth, promoted by some tour guides, is that the circles are formed by a dragon in the earth and that its poisonous breath kills the vegetation. The origin and history of fairy circles have long been a puzzle, and even now, scientists are not sure who or what created them. One favorite assumption is that a sand termite is responsible for the circles, but the range of the phenomenon is much wider than that of termite species, so it's unknown. Number 6. Ghostly waters. In December 1924, James Courtney and Michael Meehan were crew members of the SS Watertown. While on the ship, they were cleaning a cargo tank of the oil tanker, and they were overcome by gas fumes, which resulted in both of their deaths. Due to this, the crew buried them in the sea, but to their astonishment, the ghostly faces of the soldiers appeared in the water the next day. Yeah, like in the waves. Later on, many crew members reported to see the faces as well. The faces were so visible that the captain of the ship ordered them to take a picture of them to have proof. You know, so people didn't think that they were all crazy. In the picture, you can clearly see two faces, and it's just plain creepy. When they returned to the land, the negative was even checked for fakery and proclaimed genuine. Number 5. Pyramid on the Moon. This is for all the people who believe that the moon is real. In December 1972, this image was taken by Apollo 17 in the area known as Geophone Rock. NASA listed the image as blank, but after retouching the photo, you can see that it's not completely blank. Turning up the contrast, a pyramidal structure can be seen. So what was it? Was it some malfunction of the camera, or is there actually a pyramid on the moon? NASA has never given a credible version of the issue, which has led some speculations about what else can actually be on the moon hidden to public awareness. And listen, not to be a crazy conspiracy theorist, but maybe it's true that aliens built the pyramids on Earth, as it looks like they did on the moon too. NASA, please tell us the truth. Number 4. Figure climbing the stairs. Reverend Ralph Hardy, a retired clergyman from White Rock, British Columbia, took this famous photograph in 1966. Originally, he only wanted to take a picture of the elegant tulip staircase in the Queen's House section of the National Maritime Museum in Greenwich, England. And I mean, I don't blame him, they're pretty. But upon development, the photo revealed a shrouded figure climbing the stairs. It's strange and unsettling, and Ralph says there was no one else in the frame when he took it. So, is it a ghost? That seems like the most reasonable explanation at this point. Experts who examined the original negative concluded that it had not been tampered with. The vicinity of the staircase is rumored to be haunted, and unexplained footsteps had often been heard there, so it could definitely be a ghost, but it's still very strange. Number 3. The Young Boy. One of the most famous haunted houses in the United States is the Dutch Colonial House at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville, New York. The haunting stems from the night of November 13, 1974, when 23-year-old Ronald Defoe killed all 6 members of his family. He was then arrested, convicted, and given 6 concurrent life sentences. In December of 1975, George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, moved into the house and claimed that spooky things were happening. For example, George would wake up at 3:15 every morning, which was the approximate time that Ronald killed his family. Kathleen said she could feel a ghostly presence and be embraced by it. All of this and more caused the family to flee in fear after only staying in the house for 28 days. Due to this, demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren visited the house and set up time-lapse infrared cameras and caught this photo. This picture wasn't made public until 3 years later when George Lutz appeared on the Merv Griffith Show in 1979. Believers of the haunting think that the photo is a ghost of the youngest Defoe son, John Matthew, who was 9 at the time of the murders. Others believe it's a staged photo, but despite the controversy, this picture is one of the most frightening images from the Amityville horror. Number 2. Man falling from the ceiling. Back in the 1950s, the Cooper family from Texas moved into their new house. Once there, they took a family photo. Normal, right? But when the picture was developed, the image of a body falling from the ceiling was clearly visible. To be clear, no one fell from the ceiling when they took the photo. So, what happened? As further investigation on this story has brought no plausible explanation, there exists many speculations, including one that argues that the shadow is the ghost of the previous owner of the house. But my question is, why is he falling from the ceiling, and why did he have to ruin that beautiful family photo? I remember seeing this photo on the internet when I was probably too young to see it, and after all these years, this image still gives me the chills. And number 1. A collection of things. I don't don't even know how to go on to describe this photo. It's a collection of things, but you can't really make out what any of the things are. At first glance it appears normal, but upon closer inspection it is incredibly difficult to make out any object, as everything is blurred to the point of being indistinct. Your brain is trying hard to grasp some sort of pattern to understand the context of the photo, and it looks so much like there is context to be found, but it's simply impossible. The photo is named "Name One Thing in This Photo," and it was made by someone unknown. Many people have described this as what you see when you're having a stroke, but has not been released to what this is or why it was made. All I can say is that it makes me wildly uncomfortable, and I'd love it if it were deleted off the internet forever. Well, that's all for our countdown of the top 10 unsettling pictures no one can explain. I'm your host Emily, and I want to know which photo makes you the most uncomfortable. Comment down below, and while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.